In what way does your media product use, develop or challenge forms and conventions of real media products? For the front cover of my music magazine, Hip Hop Central, I've used many different conventions found in other music magazines such as Hip Hop Weekly and Rolling Stone. The most conventional part of my magazine is the main image, which I have placed in the centre of my magazine, taking up most of the space on the front cover. This follows many of the conventions set within the magazine industry similar to XXL and Rolling Stone, such as the baseball cap and jewellery. However, I have challenged some of the features by not having the artist covering the masthead due to the fact that he is not well known, so he isn't important enough to be covering it. I tried to set a house style of white, black and red, which are conventions within hip-hop magazines such as XXL and Rolling Stone. Another convention is its masthead, which is placed on the top half of the front cover and goes across the whole page. Different magazines I have analysed have had the masthead covered by an artist, whereas I decided to challenge this by having my main artist covered by the masthead, because I decided he was not as important as the name of the magazine due to his low status and him still being upcoming within the hip-hop world. I also decided to have conventions such as a skyline above the masthead and footer at the bottom of the page, which are similar within magazines I have analysed such as Hip Hop Weekly and Rolling Stone. I then decided to insert the skyline and footer with names of artists that are relevant to the hip-hop genre, which is similar to conventions found in XXL, where the names are in the background behind the main artist, but mine are within the skyline and footer. I decided to do this because I felt it would make it easier for the reader to relate to the magazine and feel like it was made for them, because they would want to read a magazine if they knew it included the types of artists which they preferably listen to. I also made the artist names eye-catching by laying them out in a red and white colour scheme to make the names stand out between the two names beside them. Most of the magazines I have analysed have used a simple sans serif font, but I decided to challenge this convention and decided to go with a more stylised font that I believe would represent hip-hop in a more representable way. I then decided to have the smaller story cover lines, besides the face of the main artist, showing the reader the other stories within the magazine similar to what can be found in Rolling Stones, which I had analysed before creating my magazine. Another convention I chose to use relates to the main cover line, which is placed in the bottom left of the magazine across the artist's chest, which is similar to magazines such as Hip Hop Weekly and XXL. This shows the audience that the cover lines relates to the main image, as it is the largest font and stands out compared to the rest of the cover lines on the page. I also chose to use a convention which can be seen in the magazine Rolling Stones on the front cover. I decided to put the release date and issue number on the bottom right of the artist, which makes it easy for the reader to know which issue they are on. Finally, I decided to put the barcode on the bottom right of the image, out of the way of audience eye, as well as the price, which is on the side of the barcode in a small font barely visible or eye-catching to the reader. This is similar to the conventional position of the barcode which I found in my analysis of the magazine XXL and Hip Hop Weekly. On my contents page, I chose to put my masthead across the top of the page, repeating the name of my magazine, helping the readers to remember the name and get it into their head. Most magazines that I analysed had their masthead across the top of the magazine, either with the magazine's full name or with a shortened down version. I also decided to put the issue number across the top of the magazine close to the masthead, similar to XXL and Rolling Stone. I then put the stories and articles that are in the magazine directly below the issue number in a white font with a black background. I did this because it would help the stories to stand out, making it easier for the readers to know what they want to read about and what interests them the most. I then made the page number of each article stick out by changing the colour to a lighter red colour, so it would make it easier for the reader to find what page the article they are looking for is on, which can also be found within most magazines. Clear navigation is an important convention to follow. I also chose to use a convention which is noticeable within all three magazines that I had analysed before creating my own, which was to give a small description of the story in a bold font and then give extra information in a regular font to make the reader want to flick to the page and read about it. I also decided to use one image for my contents page and position it in the bottom left of my magazine, showing one of the artists that is featured within the magazine. Towards the bottom of the magazine, I have included a footer which has the page number on the left hand side of the page and the magazine, an issue number on the right hand side of the page. This convention can also be found within magazines such as Rolling Stone and Hip Hop Weekly. The colour of my magazine follows my house style throughout the contents page, setting a tone about my magazine towards my audience. On my double page spread, I decided to put an image covering most of the left hand page, as this was conventional in most of the magazines that I had analysed, such as XXL and Hip Hop Weekly. Just below the image, I decided to insert a pull quote that my artist would always say it was well known for, as by reading the quote the reader would instantly recognise the artist. I put it in a white font on a black background so it would stick out amongst the image above it and become more eye-catching towards the reader. Below the quote, I decided to put a footer along the bottom showing the page number and repeating the website, as well as the issue number, as this is conventional and can also be found in magazines such as Rolling Stone and XXL. I decided to have the title of my article on the right hand side of my page rather than on the left with the image, because this way it represents the genre of hip hop by showing his importance and success. Another convention I chose to use was to split my article up into 3 separate columns, as this would give it a more professional look, attracting the attention of mature readers. This convention can also be seen in all 3 magazines I had analysed: Hip Hop Weekly, Rolling Stone and XXL, before making my own magazine. Throughout the article, I also chose to follow my house style by using the same colour scheme. I decided to colour the questions in a red colour and the answer from the artist in a white font. This also makes it easier for our reader to know what each piece of text is and skip to the part they most want to read about. Another convention I used was also surrounding the text with images of the artist, similar to Rolling Stone and Hip Hop Weekly. At the bottom of the page, I also added a conventional footer going across the whole page, which included the page number, website and issue number.